Majd. Now I want to welcome Dr. Jacinta from SE Institute to talk about the most common topic that we always talk about, how to engage guests in our activities and sustainability practices. Welcome on stage.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Jacinta Silva. I come from SE Institute. Of course, there's a lot that I will talk about SE Institute in a while, but right now I'm representing the guest experience. And my aha moment of guest experience happened in 2021 when I was visiting Bab al-Bahar in Ras Al Khaimah. Both intriguing and interesting experience. So the interesting and intriguing as well as a disturbing one. So as I go to my lunchtime, to the lunch hall, I see a big screen showing up how much food did we waste last night. And that just struck a chord with me, and I said, oh my God, that's something that's important for me before I go into my meal room, so that, I am conscious of the plate that I'm going to pick up and the food that I'm going to take. And that's where it resonated with me that a lot of times we, as guests, take things for granted because we believe that we've paid that much amount or that much money, and therefore I have the rights to waste. It could be electricity, it could be towels, it could be anything else that comes to mind when I've paid for that particular night, or that's the bigger green, the bigger one. Okay, so I'm here today to talk about a little bit about guests part of the solution. It definitely is a challenge because that's a bigger part of our value chain where we are not able to control as much, since there are a variety of perceptions and experiences that these guests come from different parts of the world, and that kind of becomes a challenge by itself to understand. So a little bit about myself. I work for C, which is Sustainable Institution. So social, environmental, economic is what we focus on. The bigger place that I come from is the Sustainable City Dubai. If you've heard Sustainable City Dubai, it focuses on all three pillars of sustainability, particularly focuses on the built environment. So we focus on food, energy, water, waste, mobility, and the materials that are used in constructing the built environment. But the topic today, and Majd rightly got the concept into net zero and carbon neutral, so I don't need to really worry about that. But as he rightly said, there are so many different aspects that we need to really focus on as bringing in sustainability in our organizations, or hospitality in particular that we are talking about today. And all those emissions come from these 4 factors. So the first carbon emission that we talk about is, of course, the energy that you're looking at. 45% or 1% of carbon emissions come from hotel industry, as Majd already spoke about. And that could come from variety of aspects, let's say energy usage, all the fossil fuel use that we use for all the different activities to run our renewables or run our energy. We also look at waste consumption. Most of our waste consumption is because of the pools, the laundry, and all the other water amenities that are available at our hospitality areas. Waste generation, that's another major challenge that hotels and hospitality sector faces, which is generating food waste, and that leads up to 37 to 72% of hotel organic waste that is generated, which is also a bigger challenge. Paper, 5 to 15%, and if you look at plastic, 5 to 15%, which is another problem which cannot be recycled in many cases. So if we are using single-use plastic, these are some of the challenges that we do not or are not able to solve in many cases. Though we call plastic or PET recyclable, but there are so many elements of that PET that cannot be recycled. For example, the bottle cap is something that you cannot recycle. So if somebody is telling you that we use water bottles, but they are recyclable, they're not. So you can recycle the bottles, but not the caps. So that's another challenge that a waste management facility can face due to using single-use plastic bottles. So all in all, we contribute to 21% of the tourism ecological footprint, which is definitely projected to increase because of the travel that has, people are more ready to travel, there's more disposable income, people love being digital nomads these days, so they don't have to be residents of one specific space, country, or region. They could go around, they could work in different sectors, different places, for different companies, but not necessarily in the same place. So that definitely adds on to the pressure on the hospitality sector. Now, when keeping these in mind, or keeping these as our carbon emissions factor in mind, we do need to make conscious choice, particularly make our guest experiences much more conscious. How can we do that? So the role of guest behavior is one of the key aspects of what all factors that we're going to take in consideration. Number one, 30 to 40% of in-room energy usage is because our guests love to keep their electricity on, air conditioning on. That's a bigger challenge that we've generally faced. 20 to 30 kilograms of CO2 is emitted due to these heating and cooling challenges that Marsh has already spoke about. 15% of our guests' habits, that's a bigger challenge. 45% resist change. And I'm sure you all experience that on a regular basis. Even though you have those kind of solutions in place, they do not want to make those changes because they believe that they've paid that much money to utilize those services. Other challenges that we face or environmental footprints add up due to laundry. We can look at the room's footprint can be saved if our guests opt for taking laundries more seriously. No need of changing those towels on everyday basis. These kind of changes can reduce 40% of our carbon footprint. Water usage can become a big challenge. So 500 liters guests per night is the average consumption of water, which is the world's highest number of water usage in the UAE compared to other parts of the world. Food waste, which we talked about, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more discussion, 224 kilograms per year, which is again another digit which increases our numbers by far, Europe and North America. So that's another bigger challenge that hotels face due to guests not eating their food or plate sizes being too big. Like last night, I was at an event and there was a 3-course meal, and it was in such speed up time that by the time I finished the first one, the second one came in, and it was equally large portions. So that was a challenge to finish up all 3 meals and plus have a dessert. So those are some of the changes or challenges that hotels can face and might be a solution out there in those challenges. So basically, all in all, these are some of the carbon environmental footprints that hotels face. and these challenges can be avoided in some form or the other by involving our guests. So last week I was listening to a podcast on how to engage our guests. And one of the elements that stuck with me was, do not make it complicated. Sustainability doesn't have to be too complicated. Make sure that you pass on that message to your guest, that it's simple. It's something that you do it at your home as well. If you involve your guests, that's definitely going to be one battle won, and therefore one thing at a time. One quick example that I found, which was very interesting from Portugal, is that you can see those messages around the hotel, wherever you see, help the nature, saving the resources, please decide. One towel inside the shower, please change. One towel on the rack, I'll use it again. So there are smaller little these kind of cue cards where the guest can click or tick, and that's how the guest contributes to that sustainability journey of different hotels. Here are some of the solutions. So this is a 400-year-old hotel or property, and it has had all traditional methods of developing luxury hotel experience for its guests. However, recently they realized that there's a lot that they can do to bring in that kind of solution. So the solution that they implemented was they invested in solar panels. Now, I know retrofitting sometimes can become a challenge because you may not have that rooftop, or maybe you do not have that kind of arrangement or amenities to add solar panels. So you have to be really conscious about how those solar panels can be used. So this particular hotel, so the changes that they did was adding solar panels, LED motion sensors, guest engagement booklets. They also provided community ties, local sourcing, POD partnership, people of determination, staff eco-training, social gardens, and various other activities. For example, energy cut cards. So like you see this cue card here, they also have another interesting cue cards for guests around their properties as to how much of that particular energy is being saved last night by switching off the electricity. So those are some interesting conversations that the guests see around the property and definitely contribute to making conscious decisions. By doing that, what did they do? What did they achieve? These are the results that they achieved. Their utility bills have gone down by 40%. Their ratings have gone up. You can see 9.3% on booking.com, and TripAdvisor is 5 by 5. You can also see that their reputation has increased from just a hotel to a luxury plus sustainable hotel group, and it has improved the supply chain as well. What are the key learnings? Very, very simple, and that's why I liked this case study and I wanted to bring and share it with you. Make eco options the default. So wherever there is a possibility, reusable, reuse, recycle, repurpose is one of the key solutions that can be utilized. Communicate sustainability in a positive manner. It's clear that this is how we function, this is how we do sustainability at our place. I'm sure guests will definitely start working towards that journey. Frame green practices and make sure that's an added value, not a sacrifice by the guests. That's another way of engaging your guests. Connect guests with culture, community, and share those results, like what Maj said. And of course, Dubai has made lots such kind of arrangements now anymore with Dubai Economy and Tourism to share your results through sustainability reporting, using sustainability reporting standards and showing your sustainability reports on different dashboards that Dubai Economy Tourism has created. Another very interesting experience, and I know I have a very little time, but a very interesting experience that I had when I went to Sri Lanka was this tuk-tuk rental. So it's a community kind of an activity that they do where all the stakeholders were involved together. And that not only created a guest experience which was wow, but also generated employment for the local youth. Not only that, but also provided that kind of support system to the economy. It also helped the guests to understand how we can experience Sri Lanka in a different format. So that's an interesting experience that I found. Very quickly on the DET Hotel Sustainability Framework, the question that came to Maj on how can we contribute or how can we support. These are some of the support systems that you will see that Dubai Sustainability Framework has been developed equally to the labels that have been introduced by the DET. Just half a minute. So I'm not going to speak much about the place where I work, but these are some of the support systems that we create when we have our events at our own venue. So we have a green mobility support system, local produce, we have our inter-space event catering, so no carbon emissions. Waste management recycling, we have our own sister concern, Tadveer, which does all of our waste management solution, and definitely our community also has those kind of support systems. Moving on to the last slide, I know. Okay, these are some of the things that you can do. Offset your carbons, use different means of transportation. Soft mobility could be great. Shuttle services, a reward system, using free EV charging stations if you do have those. And of course, storytelling is the best way of engaging your guests. So all in all, these are the key takeaways that we can utilize. Showcase sustainability in the simplest format that you can. Simplify participation, let the guests be part of the solution. Blend that comfort with conscience. So if you build that conscience in your guests, slowly and gradually, but surely that kind of change, you will definitely notice that change. Empower your guests. Do not pressurize them to accept those sustainability practices. Have options, but not necessary that all options are possible. And make them feel as if they were at home, would they do that kind of practice? So relate back to home, and that will definitely help. With that, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And if you have any questions, I'm here.